Ali Asghar Fani, the Minister of Education, in a letter to the head of the judiciary, requested pardon of a number of teachers who are currently in detention due to upcoming events in the near future. In its annual report for 2013, the international organization Open Doors stated that the pressures on Christians worldwide have been increased this year. In terms of prosecutions and violations of Christians in the top 10 countries, Iran is number 1 in this list. Last week, the Amnesty International informed of the deterioration in the health of Mr. Mohammad Reza Pourshajari, a 53-year-old blogger who is currently imprisoned in Ghazal Hisar prison of Karaj. It is written that Mr. Pourshajari is not permitted adequate access to medical care.
Last week, Zainab Jalalian, a Kurdish citizen born in the city of Maku, who has been kept in Dizal Abad prison in the city of Kermanshah, was refused permission to be transferred to a prison close to her hometown. To this day, Zainab Jalalian has made numerous requests to the prison authorities to be transferred to a prison close to her hometown, but so far her requests have not been accepted.
The municipality of the city of Sanandaj, in an unusual action, fired 200 workers of the regions 1, 2, 3 and Baharan. It is worth mentioning that workers who have not been fired are working with half of their wages cut and would not protest as they are scared of losing their jobs. Last week, 50 workers of sugar and sugar refining factory in the city of Ahvaz, who had been left in limbo, on Monday morning the 13th of January 2014, gathered in front of the governor of the city of Khuzestan in protest against the lack of attention of officials towards solving their problems.
According to reports, the managing director of the weekly journal Ninth of Day was sentenced to imprisonment and flogging for publishing an article which criticized Ali Larijani. A 45-year-old prisoner in Yassuj prison was executed on charges of drugs trafficking. On Monday the 13th of January, 2 prisoners charged with murder were executed in Sari prison. One of the men who was charged with the murder of 5 people was sentenced to death 5 times. The other defendant was sentenced to death as a vendetta for a murder he had committed. 22-year-old Abdul Wahid Shah Bakhsh and 23-year-old Mahmoud Shah Bakhsh were arrested by the security forces on the 21st of March 2012 and kept inside the Intelligence Detention Center in Zahedan. Both were charged for activities against the national security and sentenced to be executed by the Revolutionary Court in Zahedan. Reports indicate that since the 14th of January 2014, at least 6 prisoners in the prison of Raji Shah in Karaj have been transferred to solitary confinement in order to face execution. All these prisoners have been convicted of murder. On the morning of Tuesday the 14th of January 2014, the death sentence of 5 people accused of drug trafficking was carried out in the city of Shiraz. On the morning of Tuesday the 14th of January 2014, at least 7 prisoners accused of murder in Raja Shah prison were executed by hanging. Dr. Ali Rashidi, a prominent economist and nationalist activist, was put in jail after the approval of his 2-year prison sentence. On Wednesday the 15th of January 2014, the prosecution officers arrested Mr. Heshmat Ola Tabarzadi, the Secretary of the Democratic Front of Iran, at his home after presenting him with the prosecutor's summoning order.
On Wednesday, the 8th of January 2014, 3 Baha'i citizens from the city of Semnan, by the names of Ardeshir Fanayan, Shadrikh Firuzian, and Golrokh Firuzian, were arrested by the security officers and transferred to Semnan prison for the sentences to be carried out. On Friday, the 10th of January 2014, Hamid Reza Moradi, a dervish prisoner who had been hospitalized for the past 2 months in Shohadai Tadrish Hospital for few hours, was suffering from severe abdominal and kidney pain, and at early stages was diagnosed of the possibility of the intestinal artery, and was warned of his severe physical condition. 4 Sunni prisoners who have been on a hunger strike for 68 days in Ghaz al-Hasar prison are in worse condition than before. On the 9th and 10th of January 2013, for several times Kamal Mollai fainted and eventually was taken to the prison infirmary. 4 Ghanabadi dervishes who are incarcerated in the security section of Adalabad prison of Shiraz, while spending 9 months in temporary detention, had their court postponed for the second time. Mohsen Ismaili, Ibrahim Bahrami, Muhammad Sadiqi, and Muhammad Ali Dehkhan are the dervishes who are accused of forming a terrorist group against the regime, participating in protests to overthrow the regime, and waging war against God, and have been spending 9 months in prison with delayed court cases. Furthermore, the ideological prisoners of the Section 10 of Rajai Shahr prison for the past 2 weeks have been deprived of warm water. Hashem Hossein Panahi, a teacher of theological school of Imam Bukhari of Sanandaj, in a special cleric court was sentenced to 6 months imprisonment and 30 lashes. It is worth noting that this Sunni activist was a former employee of the judiciary and has been working for 12 years in the Justice Department, who was fired and made redundant 4 years ago, following defending Sunnis' rights and participating in religious activities.
Afshin Ba Imani, a political prisoner in Rajai City Prison, despite having had 2 heart attacks, has been denied leave on medical grounds. On Saturday, the 11th of January, Syed Abu Zar Alavi, a member of the National Committee of Religious Activists in Mazandaran, following a complaint to the Information Office of Behshar branch, was summoned to the Public and Revolutionary Prosecutor of Behshar. The prisoners in the Workers' Branch of the Central Prison of Zahedan have 1 day off per week and have access to only minimum amenities. According to reports, on Sunday the 12th of January, Ahmad Daneshpour Moghadam, the political prisoner sentenced to death, was taken to the infirmary unconscious following deterioration in his health and physical condition. Ahmed Ali Keikha, Deputy Environment and Biodiversity Manager of the Environmental Protection Agency, said that the country's environmental situation is in a dire condition and is down by 60 steps in comparison to the previous year. News indicates that last week 350 political prisoners refused to go to meetings in acts of protest and subsequently were suspended from visiting their relatives for 2 weeks. Further to continuous fires within schools in Iran's Kurdish areas, another school in the rural area of Urumia has caught fire from kerosene heaters. Fortunately, the fire did not take any lives.